Hello and welcome to another episode of Ask an Assistant, the podcast for executive assistants and the people that love us. I'm your host, Jess Lindgren. Let's get to work. Today's episode is hopefully a somewhat timely one. January 20th, 2025, things are a bit uncertain at the moment here in the United States. With uncertainty of any stripe comes breaking and rapidly developing news stories that are muddied by the 24-hour news cycle and exacerbated by sharing unverified information. And I mean, there's countless studies out there that show that scrolling through news, social media, email right before bed, and then waking up to a mountain of notifications on your phone is awful for your brain. So I would like to encourage anyone listening to minimize distractions in any degree that you can on your phone. I remember getting my first cell phone. It was the coolest thing to be able to stay in touch with friends. Text messages were so exciting. It was kind of cool in a way to be able to stay in touch with work, whether by phone or email, as technology progressed. And it's taken a lot of time for me personally to develop a practice of minimizing distractions on my phone and viewing my phone as more of a tool than a toy. Definitely a practice, one that I'm not always great at, one that pre-pandemic I was a lot better at. Pre-2020, my daily phone usage averaged 2 hours a day or less. Now I would say I'm more like 4 to 5 hours a day. A lot of that is work, because a lot of my work is email, calendar, and phone based. And those are things that I can do, like telephone, like making and taking phone calls. And those are things that I can do from my cell phone. But I still really try to do as much of my work as possible on my laptop. And yeah, it's just so easy to be on your phone checking a work email and then feel the compulsion to check your personal email, check in on social media, play a quick round of a game, answer a text. So again, definitely personally, I consider minimizing distractions to be a practice, one that I've been working on for the better part of a decade. And here are some of the things that I personally have done that have helped me, and I hope some of them work for you as well. The very first thing that I did many years ago was turn my phone on silent. I very, very rarely turn sounds on. I deleted most social media apps and games from my phone. I turned off push notifications except for the things that I want and or need to pay timely attention to. And I turned off the number badge for email a long time ago. So that's just the high level, drilling down into some of these things, turning my phone on silent and very rarely turning on sounds. I used to date somebody who was a very early adopter of the iPhone, the smartphone, would get email pings all night long, leave their phone on the nightstand. It would be buzzing and dinging, and honestly was a contributing factor to why we broke up, because they just would not turn off the sounds and the vibrations. So that was something, again, 15 plus years ago, one of the very first things I did when I transitioned to an actual iPhone. The phone has been on silent. The vibrations are low, and I really love the do not disturb feature on my phone. While I was living on the West Coast and running an event on the East Coast, and I would leave messages for people, oftentimes still my working hours Pacific, but after their working hours Eastern. They'd call me back the next morning. 8 a.m. Eastern is 5 a.m. Pacific. Not a fun time to be getting phone calls. So turning the phone on silent, having the vibrations to be selectively available, and utilizing that do not disturb feature. Oh my gosh, like just absolute world of difference. And yeah, I can use my phone then more on my terms than on other people's terms, because anything, text message, phone call, whatever, coming into your phone, that's a demand from somebody else on your time. So keeping the distractions low in terms of the sounds and the vibrations is so important. If I'm at a work function or maybe I'm expecting a really important call, sometimes I'll turn sounds on, but those times are extremely few and far between. Deleting social media apps and games from my phone, again, big game changer. This was something that when I quit my job in 2013 and started my company, Gal Friday 612, in 2014, I started to pay attention to how much time I was spending on my phone. It was easier in an office setting where you're there for 8 to 10 hours a day. You're salaried, your time ebbs and flows. Sometimes you've got little downtime. Sometimes you've got busy time. There's definitely time to mess around, social media, games, whatever, little distractions on your phone. When I became a contractor and I was charging clients for my time, even just 1 hour a day, let's say sometimes it was an hour and 10, hour and 15, just an hour a day is one full working day by the end of a week. So that was a really important shift for me personally, was just knowing that I was taking 8 hours away from billable work. I was taking 8 hours away from time at home, time with family, time with friends. No judgment to anybody if you use them for work. If you simply like using them, that's fine. This is just what works for me. Something that has been very helpful for me is deleting the apps. I have not had Facebook on my phone for over a decade at this point. I do still have Instagram on my phone. And what I have done that has been super helpful is set a time limit. On the iPhone, you can go to settings, screen time, app limits, and I have a 10-minute daily limit on Instagram. And there are no other social media apps installed on my phone. And it's really, honestly great. If you want to take it a step further, you can fully delete your accounts, but as long as the app isn't on your phone, I think that's a great place to start. I have way too many Instagram accounts. I'd really like to consolidate them. Several of them have not been updated in years, but I would like to consolidate and delete some of them. I have a Facebook account that I'm logged into on my computer, and I don't actually know the password for it. And then I have a Reddit account that I use for the executive assistant subreddit and to post pictures of our cute cats and look at other people's cute cats. I would say I discover a new cat subreddit once a week, but definitely try to use the in-browser experience, because on your phone, the apps are really optimized for scrolling and engagement and dopamine hits, and the in-browser experience is different. And I personally feel like it is way easier to spend less time. Like, you can still check in if you're on a browser, but it's easier. It's harder to spend a ton of time if you're on your computer. For me personally. Deleting games from your phone. This was a big one. I remember, again, getting my first iPhone and the first apps, games that I ever downloaded, and just the little dopamine hits and the engagement and the spend more time doing this, and you get bonuses in the app if you spend time, and it just, again, easier to do when you've got ebbs and flows in your office life. Definitely something that I turned off and deleted most of my games when I started contracting. The two that I still play, for anybody out there who might be interested, I play Fallout Shelter. It is so fun to me, even though I've been playing it forever. It doesn't get old. I love my little vault dwellers. I love their little pets. I love maxing out all of their stats. I love sending them out into the wasteland to collect random things. I love making them fancier weapons so that when the death claws come and break into your vault, it's faster and easier. I don't know why. I've tried to play Fallout like on a console. It's just not for me. Fallout Shelter, however, on my phone, I love it. I also have a Tetris adjacent game called Cube Block. It was a pretty cheap, no ads upgrade, and it just works. Like I tried a bunch of different Tetrisy apps and the ads were way too expensive. Like some apps will charge you 10 to 20 bucks to turn ads off. Some of them are super glitchy. You have to like earn or buy coins or tokens or whatever to play. I really love that this one just works, and it was a cheap, no ads upgrade. And I find it very calming, something nice for my brain, and just use it a few times a week and just chill out. It's really nice. On my phone, my iPhone, I am not an Android user. I am an iPhone user. I have the feature turned on where apps are automatically uninstalled if I don't use them. I have seen anecdotal reports here and there that data has been deleted when apps are offloaded, but I have not experienced that myself. And actually, if you go into, I think it's settings, App Store. I know this is super exciting for anybody who doesn't have an iPhone. Settings, App Store, and then scroll down to the bottom where it says offload unused apps. It does say automatically remove unused apps, but keep all documents and data. Reinstalling the app will place back your data if the app is still available in the App Store. So personally, like I go in fits and starts. Like I said, I've deleted most games from my phone for a while last summer. I was playing the heck out of Pokemon Go. I haven't logged into it in several months. It is presently offloaded, but I know that if I re-download it, all my Pokemon are still there. All my steps, all my achievements, whatever, like it's still there. I've never experienced it where data has been taken away. But I'm not an Apple engineer, and I totally believe people if they say that their stuff has been gone. So definitely tread with caution. But most of the apps that have been offloaded for me are either truly things that I just don't use and it doesn't matter. So when I notice something has been offloaded, I'll just go ahead and delete it. And then a lot of stuff, when it is offloaded, it's something where I have an account anyway that I can log back into it. So the data is not stored on my phone and can easily be re-downloaded when I need it. Like airline apps are a great example. My executive uses Alaska Airlines for a specific flight a couple times a year. I never use it because it's just not convenient to where I live in upstate New York. The same goes for Hawaiian Airlines. We're really fortunate. My executive lives in San Diego. There's a direct San Diego to Honolulu route, but Hawaii's once or twice a year, and I don't need the app the rest of the year. So if it gets offloaded, I am never sad when I need to re-download it and log back in. Your mileage may very well vary, but it's really not a hassle to me. Again, if you're interested in this feature, you can turn it off by going to Settings, App Store, and then toggle the offload unused apps to your preferred setting. I do believe that it comes standard on with the newer iOS updates. So check your settings and make sure that you have things the way that you want them. Turning off push notifications, except for the things that you want and need to pay attention to. There are a handful of things. Like just before recording this, I pulled up my app center, my notification center, and just scrolled through the last several days worth of what pops up on my phone. Slack, that's for work. That is the only place that my executive messages me for work stuff. Time sensitive things when I'm traveling. So we were just in Miami a couple months ago and we downloaded DoorDash because we were in a bigger city. Like where we live in upstate New York, DoorDash is not efficient or honestly very useful. So most of the year, it's just not on my phone. But in a bigger city or when I'm traveling and I might not have access to a car or I might not want to take a bus to go pick up granola bars or whatever, downloading DoorDash is super helpful. Also, if I'm traveling, or my executive's traveling, like I just sent him to Hawaii a couple weeks ago, having the Hawaiian Airlines app on my phone and downloaded because he was actively traveling. It's super helpful to know if there's going to be any changes to his flight. But then the rest of the year when I don't need them, turn those notifications off, uninstall the apps, whatever you have to do. Text messages from friends come through to my phone. There is one caveat, however, to allowing texts to come through. There was a day I was driving in the middle of a snowstorm, like the big, puffy, soft, flaky flakes and like wind everywhere. And you've got your windshield wipers going, even though it's snow and not rain. And text messages were just coming through like a mile a minute. I literally had to pull my car over and turn the notifications off. So ever since then, if a group chat gets to be too much, push notifications and vibrations are revoked. But I always see the little app badge that there's text messages, and I can always come back and check whenever I have time. Credit card purchases are pushed to my phone. This helps me stay on top of any fraudulent activity. A couple times a year, I will order something from like a Macy's. And for whatever reason, Macy's is one that gets flagged for fraud like almost every time. So just knowing that purchases are being made, knowing which purchases I actually made, and that nobody else has gotten a hold of my credit card, like it's really nice to just have those come through and say, yep, that was me. Yep, that was me. Nope, that wasn't me. Let's give Capital One a call real quick. Camera notifications at my home. So this is one we recently did get doorbell cameras for our doors at our home. Because our nieces and nephews do not have cell phones. This way, if they ever come to our house, anywhere we are in the world, we can answer the door. You know, it's peace of mind. And it also helps us keep tabs on the comings and goings of the neighborhood kitties. It's been really cute. We got a lot of lake effect snow over Christmas, and the cats were using the tire tracks in our driveway as a little kitty superhighway between houses. It was very cute. But literally everything else on my phone, including, but especially email, is set to fetch and or has notifications disabled, because it's just minimizing those distractions, keeping my phone, like remembering that it's a tool, still kind of a toy. Like if you had told me when I was a kid that I could have a little magic rectangle that had encyclopedias and you could connect to all of your friends that you just moved away and you can still keep in touch and it doesn't have to be a scheduled phone call or a letter, like so cool, like a very powerful information tool, but again, a tool. So that's really helpful for me, is to just keep all those notifications down. And I did just touch on email, so that's the last one. The most helpful step I have ever taken with my cell phone is I turned off the red number badge for email a long time ago, like really not that long after turning the phone to silent. I am an inbox zero striver, but not necessarily daily achiever. The little red bubble that might start off the day at a few hundred emails, and then you get into your inbox, you get rid of all the spam, you answer some stuff, you get down to zero, and then it goes to tens of emails. Then maybe later in the day, it's up to a couple hundred. Then, the emails just don't stop. So turning off the push for email, turning it to fetch only, and turning off the badge. Oh boy, I am logged into so many email accounts. I have a few professional ones. I have a couple of personal ones. So even though like the work one might only have a few emails, like just seeing that compounded number just creep up throughout the day was really stressing me out. Made the number look and feel like email was out of control. And honestly, some days isn't it? But taking the simple step of turning the badge off was and continues to be a huge weight off my shoulders. Like it just, if you do none of the rest of these steps, just take the step of turning off your email, the little notification that tells you, like my husband literally has tens of thousands of unread emails. I have no idea how he functions even ever seeing that number. But like turn off that badge and set your mail to fetch. It is hands down the number one best thing I have ever done for minimizing distractions on my phone. Yeah, so that leaves us here at the end of the episode. We talked about turning phone to silent, keeping vibrations to a minimum, taking social media and games off your phone if at all possible, turn those push notifications off for anything that you can, offload apps, delete apps, and turn off that email number badge. It honestly, just take that one step and let me know how you feel. I would love to hear it. And that's everything for this week. Turn off those notifications, uninstall those apps. Tell me how your shoulders feel. Maybe you release a little tension. And until next week, take care.